I'm joined here today by the one, the only Cortney Casey making that quick turnaround at UFC Apex, taking on Gillian Robertson. Cortney, thanks so much for joining me. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Still a little bit high from those fights we saw last night at UFC 250. Lots of good knockouts. I assume being a fighter, you got a chance to watch that a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to tune in to see Amanda fight, also Sugar. So yeah, I mean it was a great night of fights last night. Some good finishes, and man, Amanda put on just a clinic, and you could really see how whole her game is. So I was really happy with it.
The biggest question coming out of the night, of course, was who got the better knockout? Was it Cody Garbrandt or was it Sugar Sean? I'm sure you're a little bit biased, but who did you have for the better knockout?
Um, I mean, Shug was in the moment. You know what I mean? Like it was. I think it was just a nice technical knockout. And I think Cody's was more, hey, it's end of the round, literally the end of the round. I'm just going to wing something, you know?
Yeah.
Like, not saying that he's. I think Shook set his up where Cody just kind of baited him in and just ducked him through something because it was the end of the round. You know what I mean? So I would go with Shugs because in my eyes, it was more of a technical knockout than just a haymaker that was thrown just for shits and giggles.
There we go. I have to agree with you there. I liked his knockout because we saw him set it up with the fake uppercut with the left and then boom, straight right. I mean, it was one of those knockouts that, made me say, oh shit. And that doesn't happen too often.
Yeah, no, for sure. Not taking anything away from Cody's at all. I mean, that one was
Right.
crazy. But if you want to go with a more clean technical knockout, I'm definitely going to go with Shugs. I mean, he set it up perfectly. He hit him with those body shots, kind of got him guessing with those, those low body shots when he kicked him a few times. And then, yeah, take that uppercut and just threw it right after and dropped him clean.
And so is Sean someone that you still train with? I know things are a little bit weird at the MMA lab, but what's that situation like?
I don't train with him at the MMA lab. We've gone over to him and Tim's gym a few times. We love those guys. I mean, they're family to us. So we're always supporting and hopping in their gym when we get a chance. But yeah, nothing but love for those guys over there.
And so let's go to your fight a little bit. Obviously, you're taking on Gillian Robertson. We saw you take this big break. Things are keeping you from the cage. Now it's like almost exactly a month later, you're going to be fighting her with this quick turnaround. How exactly did that happen? Did you reach out to the UFC? Did they reach out to maybe you or your manager? How did that come together?
Well, I had said that I was looking for a quick turnaround, and because I came out of that fight pretty much unscathed. So, yeah, I mean, I got home on late Sunday, and then I got the phone call on Tuesday night. I was actually over at my sister's house getting ready to eat some cookies that she got me, and
Yeah.
I got the phone call, and they asked, and I said, oh, I said I was down. I just had to talk to my coaches, and by the time Wednesday came, we had already agreed to the fight.
And so you mentioned the cookies. I assume you had to put the cookies down and you weren't able to enjoy that, or were you able to sneak them in anyways?
I got two. They're giant cookies.
Oh,
Huge.
yeah.
They're amazing. But I cut it into four, and I had one little piece just to try because I'd never tried that brand before, and yeah, so just got to enjoy it one little piece, and then it was right back into camp.
Yeah, it seems they always call while right before you enjoy the snack and never afterwards. They always know exactly when to call.
Always no. I hadn't even got my tacos yet or anything, and
Yeah.
yeah, so now I got to get tacos and cookies.
For sure. With this fight taking place at 125, would you have been able to make a quick turnaround like that if you were still at 115, or is being at 125 offering you that kind of freedom?
Being at 125 definitely offered me that type of freedom. Yeah, 115, I don't think I would have been able to make that quick of a turnaround. At least not recently. Maybe earlier on in my career I would have been able to do it, but I'm getting older. I'm growing into I guess, growing more into my body. Putting on that, I guess you can say that mom weight and that mom body. We start changing around like 31, 32. So yeah, it just probably not. Yeah, I'm happy I'm at 125 right now.
For sure. Let's talk about your last fight a little bit. Obviously, it was this great armbar. I don't have to tell you that. Are you happy with your performance? I mean, how do you sort of look back on that fight?
I'm happy with it. I mean, I still got a lot of growing to do. but I was happy with it. She was a lot stronger than I thought. We definitely know that, with this division, I'm definitely going to need to be, putting on a little bit more size. I'm tall for the division, but I'm still a little bit on the smaller size as far as, my muscle tone and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, other than her being extremely strong, I think I fared well with her considering, she's beaten a lot of good girls, gone the distance with a lot of girls. So being able to get that finish was pretty good.
And so with the armbar, I mean, we saw her scream and all that stuff. Obviously, the referee steps in. Did you realize with that scream that the fight was stopped? Because we know that's also a verbal submission, but not everybody necessarily realized that. Did you know, or were you kind of waiting on the ref?
I know it's a verbal submission, but at the same time, like, we're told not to stop until the ref steps in.
Right.
There's times when guys yell and girls yell, and then, you stop and, they get mad at the ref saying that they never tapped, and they got to explain to them that it was a verbal tap and things like that, and vice versa. Then them yell and they keep going because they never tap, they just yell, and then the ref doesn't stop it. So for me, I've already had issues with, letting submissions go because people tapped and the ref not seeing it and then them complaining about it. So, yeah, I just wait for the ref to come in. I had to crank it a little longer than I would have liked to because he was so far away, but, I got to do my job to make sure that I secure the finish.
And so that brings me to my next point. Did you get a lot of backlash from the fans? I felt like you had to kind of defend yourself a lot and explain to people what exactly they were seeing out there. Did you receive a lot of negativity for that?
I didn't get too much. There's a few people saying that I cranked on it harder after she screamed, but at the end of the day, like, I'm finishing my motion, and it's the ref's job to step in. I have to finish until the ref stops in. I mean, just doing my job. I mean, you guys can hate it if you want to, but we're both in the locker room. Like, I'll step in to stop it. I'm going to give you these, to move. I'm going to give you these commands to move. I'm going to give you these commands, these warnings and X, Y, and Z. So, I mean, everything's aired out right before we step in, into the cage. So, it is what it is. I made sure I apologized to her. I told her that it's, like, I wasn't trying to crank it any longer or hold it, making sure that she was okay, things like that. But,
right.
It's our job.
And so with these kind of submissions, I'm always curious, like, we see there's like a point in the fight where the submission gets locked up and everybody kind of realizes, okay, it's over. There's no way they're getting out of that. At what point in the fight did you realize, okay, I got this armbar. There's no way she's getting out of this?
After I hit her with those, I mean, it was pretty tight, but like I said, she was extremely strong. So, I hit her with a few little shots, and as soon as she, like, slid right back, she kind of moved her head away, which is, what you try to do is get him to start thinking about the punches, and then she just overcorrected and came in, and as soon as that happened, I knew it was in.
And so let's talk about your fight against Gillian Robertson. Obviously, it's an important one for the division, kind of determines where everybody is in this fight. What are your thoughts on her as you head into this fight?
She's extremely good. I mean, she's fought a lot of good girls. Her ground game's really good. She has a great coach. She's been with him for a while, and he was a great fighter, and I think Dean's a really good coach as well. But I just feel like if she comes to fight, it's gonna be a war. I'm hoping she'll stand a little bit. I highly doubt she is. I think she's gonna go straight for the ground. We've been working a lot of just more jiu-jitsu takedowns, inverted rolls, and things like that, things that she likes to do. She likes to do a lot of Granbies and Barambolos and stuff like that into like a half guard. And so we just really been focusing on wrestling and jiu-jitsu and, just keeping the hands crisp just in case she stands, but we know it's going to happen.
And so for you as a fighter, what's more fun? Is it knowing that you have a fighter that's coming in that you know is going to want to take you down and you sort of get to grapple it out and see who finishes who? Or is it knowing that you might have a fun stand-up fight on the feet? Like, which one is more exciting for you?
I mean, they're all exciting. I really just want someone that's trying to fight. I don't like people that go in there just to win the points. get takedowns and just hold and things like that. I like people who when they're standing, they're trying to finish the fight. When they're on the ground, they're trying to finish the fight. I'm not fans of people that are just trying to squeak out positions and win on points and things like that. I mean, we're there to fight. We're not there to have a taekwondo point match, you know. So,
Yeah.
you know, if someone comes in and brings the fight, I'm more than happy to oblige.
And so for you, leading up into this fight, has this been like one giant training camp that spanned all this time, or does it feel like two different training camps for you?
Man, it was 15 months of a training camp, that's for sure. I mean, I didn't
Yeah.
take really any days off, as far as training goes when I had my injuries. Obviously there was a few weeks in there where I didn't train because I was with Dre for his fights, but, I was always in the gym. So it's been one giant camp, and the fact that,
Yeah.
my last opponent and Gillian kind of have that same jiu-jitsu background. They're not very heavy strikers. They're more, cage and ground girls. It kind of just segued into one giant for sure.
And so when you have a giant camp like that, what do you do specifically to avoid injuries? Is it about knowing when to rest your body? Is there a certain kind of recovery? What do you do to kind of avoid those injuries?
Yeah, really it's having the right partners. You know what I mean? It's having people that can train, having people that know, there's going to be light days that are drilling days. There's going to be days, and like there's drilling days and there's flow days, and then there's 100% days. And having partners that understand that is great. I mean, it's not really your coaches; it's having the partners. I mean, your coaches can say, oh, we're just drilling today, but if you have a guy that's always trying to win every little thing, it doesn't help. Your coaches can say, oh, we're going 10%, we're going 50%, but they're just dudes or girls that just always have to try to win and go 100%. So I've been lucky to have some good training partners with Chance, and actually his sister ended up coming over as well for this camp. She's another good wrestler, and yeah, like I'm really happy to have them a part of my camp, and good partners are hard to find.
All right, and that brings me to my last question. I mean, fighters are used to this question. You probably have an answer already, but how do you see this fight playing out come June 20th?
Man, I really don't. I really can't say because it's definitely gonna. I mean, she's a good girl. I'm really excited to fight her, but I still feel like everywhere it goes, I'm better than her. So I mean, definitely, I feel confident that I'll be able to get the win, but I don't think I can put. Can't really say how it's gonna happen, but I definitely think I'm gonna come out with the win for sure, and I think it's gonna be a good win for my resume and hopefully move me up a little bit more in the rankings. I was pretty surprised to be ranked so early, but then looking back at who my last opponent had fought and the outcomes of those fights, I could see why I got ranked where I was. But I mean, this girl has a lot of notable wins and some good finishes, and she's fought a lot of girls and it's gone the distance. So I feel like I can move up a few more spots after this one as well.
All right, well, we look forward. It's going to be a great fight. Obviously, you know that. Thanks so much for the time as always, Courtney. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you so much, man. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend.